All right, thanks, guys. The Clippers take on the Pistons. That's going to be a 5 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Detroit. The Pistons are minus 1.5, totals 215. 51% are leaning Detroit, 58% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Clippers are plus 105 for some money line cash. Now, if you like the Clippers on the road here, just keep in mind they're taking on a Pistons team who's covering 60% of their games in their last 10. They also rank 9th in home defensive rebounding. Now, the Clippers on their side of things are just 4-8 straight up in their last dozen, 4-8 against the spread in that same category. And when it comes to scoring, both teams went over the line in 2 out of their last 3, respectively. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take the Pistons minus 1 in the over 215 in that matchup there. And before we go ahead and move on, I just want to take a quick timeout and just quickly welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Saturday's NBA and college basketball action. But before we hop into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented 4-0 performance last night, we had 4 picks in action. We had a daily best play, a dog of the day, and 2 others. And we smashed them all. We went a perfect 4-0 on all 4 plays. We normally don't do 4 plays in a day, but I do have obligations I have to fulfill when it comes to different memberships and tiers. So it just so happened that all 4 picks needed to be made for me to fulfill my contractual obligations to my patrons. And we smashed them all, 4-0. You can check that out on patreon.com/BrockPage. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So even if you do go to that website, you don't have to buy. Just check out the records and the free content there as well. And so, yeah, plenty of free content there as well. And as always, if you are a current patron of mine and you're currently watching this right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You make it all worth it. The link for that website is in the description section below. All right, let's go ahead and hop into some more lines and personal leans. Let's go ahead and take on the Bucks and the Wizards. Now, these are all Eastern Standard Time starts. But anyway, Bucks at the Wizards, 7 o'clock tip-off in Washington. The Bucks are minus 6.5, totals 229 and a hook. 73% are leaning toward Milwaukee, 67% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Wizards are plus 225 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Washington at home in the spot here, they have successfully covered the number in 8 out of their last 9 home games. They also rank 5th in home scoring in the association. Now, Milwaukee, on their side of things, they failed to cover in 4 out of their last 6. They also rank 28th in defending the 3 ball on the road. Now, when it comes to scoring, Milwaukee's 80% to the under in their last 5. Washington 4-2 to the under in their last 6 at home. So with all that in mind, I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take Washington plus 7, getting the job done at home, and the under 229.5 in that one. Next game, Bulls, Hornets, 7 o'clock tip-off in Charlotte. The Hornets are minus 6, totals 216. 73% are leaning Charlotte, 51% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Chicago's plus 235 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Chicago in an upset, it's going to be a tough one for you. They're taking on a Charlotte team who's 8-1 straight up in their last 9 at home. They rank 2nd in the association in home 3-point defense. Meanwhile, Chicago on their side of things, well, they're just 12-40 straight up overall for the year. 2-14 straight up in their last 16. They failed to cover in 6 out of their last 9 ball games. Now, when it comes to the scoring, both teams are 7-1 to the over in their last 8 meetings with each other. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Charlotte minus 6 in the over 216 in that matchup there. All right, next game, Nets, Magic, 7 o'clock tip-off in Orlando. The Magic are minus 2, totals 218. 64% are leaning Brooklyn, 77% are leaning toward the over. And at the moment, Brooklyn's plus $1.10 for some money line cash. Now, Orlando's 4-2 against the spread in their last 6. They rank 8th in points allowed in the association. Brooklyn, on their side of things, they have Dudley, Allen Crabbe, Spencer Dinwiddie, and LeVert all out for tonight's action. All 4 of those players are out. Now, when it comes to scoring, both teams are 2-0 to the over in their last 2 head-to-head matchups. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Orlando minus 2 in the over 218 in that matchup there. Next game, Mavs, Cavs. 7:30 tip-off in Cleveland. Dallas is -8, totals 210. 61% are leaning Dallas, 73% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, Cleveland's plus 345 on the money line. Dallas is 6-0 against the spread in their last 6 straight. Luka Doncic upgraded the probable. We might see him play tonight. Now, Cleveland, on their side of things, they dropped 18 out of their last 21. They are dead last in home defensive field goal percentage. Now, when it comes to scoring, Cleveland is 79% to the over in their last 14 on their home court. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Dallas -8 and the over 210 in that matchup there. Next game, Pacers, Heat, 7:30 tip-off in Miami. The Heat are -3, totals 204.5. 57% are leaning Miami, 70% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Pacers are plus 135 on the money line. Now, Indiana, really banged up right now. They have Evans, Joseph, McDermott, all questionable for tonight's action. Obviously, Oladipo is out for the year. So I'll probably mention that for the next week or so, and then we're going to move on from that. I'm well aware that Victor Oladipo is out for the year. So anyway, we're going to forego mentioning that after a couple of days. Indiana's 0-4 straight up in their last 4. Obviously in shambles after that Oladipo injury. They're also 0-5 against the spread in their last 5. Now, scoring-wise, Indiana's 80% to the over in their last 10 when traveling. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Miami -3 and the over 204.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Pelicans, Spurs. 8:30 tip-off in San Antonio. The Spurs are -10.5, totals 232 and a hook. 51% are leaning San Antonio, 62% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, the Pels are plus 445 for some money line cash. Now, the Pels are banged up. They got Mirotic, Davis, Moore, Peyton, Randall all out for tonight's action. San Antonio's 10-2 straight up in their last dozen at home, 13-5 against the spread in their last 18 on their home court as well. And when it comes to scoring, San Antonio's 5-0 to the over in their last 5 when traveling. New Orleans 80% to the over in their last 5 on the road. So with all that in mind, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take San Antonio -10 and the over 232.5 in that one. Next game, Lakers, Warriors, 8:30 tip-off at Golden State. The Warriors are laying 10.5, totals 236. 51% are leaning Warriors, 61% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Lakers are plus 475 for some money line cash. Now, the Lakers are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 on the road. They rank second in road defense. They rank second in road offensive rebounding. Now, Golden State, they're just 3-11 against the spread in their last 14 at home. And when it comes to scoring, the Lakers are 31% to the over in their last 13. So with all that in mind, I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take the Lakers plus 11 and the under 236 in that matchup there. Next game, Hawks, Suns. 9 o'clock tip-off in Phoenix. The Suns are laying 2.5, totals 235. 51% are leaning Phoenix, 64% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, the Hawks are plus 120 for some money line cash. Now, if you like the Hawks, they are taking on a Phoenix team who is dead last in offensive rebounding, 29th in points allowed, and dead last in home offensive rebounding as well. Phoenix lost their last 9 straight. They're just 2-8 straight up in their last 10 at the talking stick, and they're covering just 25% of their last 8 at home. Now, scoring-wise, Phoenix is 67% to the under in their last 6 at the Talking Stick Resort. So with all that in mind, I'm going to take the road dog in this one. Give me the Hawks plus 3 and the under 235 in that matchup there. Next game, Rockets, Jazz, 9 o'clock tip-off in Utah. The Jazz are laying 6.5, totals 222 and a hook. 76% are leaning Utah, 82% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Rockets are plus 235 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Houston, this is not a slam dunk for you. They have failed to cover in 7 out of their last 8. They're also 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 when traveling. Now, Utah's 10-2 straight up in their last dozen, 9-1 straight up in their last 10 at home. They rank second in defensive rebounding in the NBA. Now, total-wise, Utah's 12-4 to the under in their last 16 on their home court. Houston, 67% to the under in their last 12 on the road. So with all that in mind, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take the Jazz -6 and the under 222.5 in that one. Next game, Nuggets, T-Wolves. 9 o'clock tip-off in Minnesota. The Nuggets are -1 on the road. Totals 221. 83% are leaning toward Denver. Denver's 5-0 straight up in their last 5. 7-1 straight up in their last 8. Minnesota, well, they're banged up. They got a lot of guys on that injury report. We have George Teague, Robert Covington, and Jones all out for tonight's action. And Rose is doubtful with an ankle injury as well. Now, Minnesota's 80% of the under in their last 5. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Denver -1 in the under 221 in that matchup there. Next and final game for the show, it is going to be 76ers at the Kings. 10 o'clock tip-off in Sacramento. The Sixers are -3.5, totals 235. 70% are leaning Sixers, 66% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Sacramento's +135 for some money line cash. Now, Sacramento ranks second in the NBA in defending the 3 ball at home. They're also covering 60% of their games in their last 10. Philadelphia, on their side of things, they have J.J. Redick and Chandler out for tonight's action. And Amir Johnson is questionable for tonight's game as well. Now, when it comes to the total, Philadelphia is 71% to the under in their last 7. And so with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Sacramento +4 after buying the half a point and the under 235 in that matchup there. All right, let's slide into some college basketball, and we are going to begin with Virginia Tech at NC State. That should be a good one. Noon tip-off at NC State. The Wolfpack -2, totals 151. 58% are leaning Wolfpack, 74% shaded toward the over. Now, if you like Virginia Tech, they have failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7. They're also just 2-4 against